This hand-painted Louis Vuitton trunk was created for one of the world's most valuable collectibles. It holds the most expensive US stamp ever sold that just went up for auction earlier this month and gained a price of $4.3 million. It is also the only stamp that has ever been traded straight up for the unique plate block of 4 of the most famous United States stamp, the inverted Jenny. That incredible stamp is this one right here. It is the 1867 1-cent Z-Grill Benjamin Franklin, of which there are only 2 known in the world, this copy and then another copy that is owned by the New York Public Library. The term Z-Grill refers to these paper breaks that were intentionally put on the back of these stamps in a grid fashion in order to act as an anti-theft device. You see, when it was canceled, the ink from the cancellation would actually sink into the paper and prevent those cancels from being washed off and the stamp reused. There are 11 varieties of these grills, and the Z-Grill is the most rare variety. As a matter of fact, this 15-cent Lincoln Z-Grill also sold in the same Siegel sale, bringing $2.8 million itself. So how did this unassuming 1-cent stamp end up being traded for the unique block of 4 of the most famous US stamp, the inverted Jenny? Well, it all started when an 11-year-old boy won it at auction for $935,000 in 1998. You see, 11-year-old Zachary Sunman was bidding on behalf of his father, Don Sunman, who was the owner of one of the biggest stamp companies in the country, Mystic Stamp. The man that Zachary outbid for that stamp was the very famous Bond King, founder of Pimco, and billionaire Bill Gross, who was trying to form a complete collection of the United States stamps, something that had only been done twice in history, once by Benjamin Miller and another time by Robert Zollner. After purchasing the stamp, Mystic used it in all of their advertising for almost a decade, and it was the only stamp that the stamp company owned that was not for sale because it was such an integral part of their brand. And over the next 10 or 15 years, as Bill Gross was building his US collection, it started to all come down to this single 1-cent Z-Grill Benjamin Franklin stamp in order to make it complete. Mystic was very reluctant to give up the stamp at any price until Charles Shreve, the philatelic advisor of Bill Gross, came up with a great idea, because the unique inverted Jenny plate block of 4 was coming up for auction. You see, this number down here in the lower left-hand corner of this block of 4 is a control number showing which plate from the Bureau of Engraving and Printing this stamp was printed from, and it is the only example of this very famous error that has that number. Shreve latched onto the idea of Bill Gross buying this block of 4 stamps and then trading it straight up to Mystic Stamp Company for their 1-cent Z-Grill, an offer that Don Sunman decided to accept. So in 2005, Gross bought this block of 4 for just shy of $3 million, and then in a very public event, the 1-cent Z-Grill was traded straight up for the block of 4 of the inverted Jenny. This is just one incredible stamp in the Bill Gross collection that has been sold over the last 5 years. His US collection has had a total hammer price of somewhere in the $44 million range, with his international collection going for another $30 million, for a total of around $75 million in stamps that have been sold over the past couple of years. And Bill Gross was able to let all of this go because he was able to say he finally completed his US collection with this beautiful stamp.